And here is my little 20-pound baby who I was scared to pick up, let alone swing around and play with, like 8 months ago when she was 10 pounds. Hi, I'm Katherine, and I just want to share how everything has changed the last 6 months after I found out what TMS was and about it and read some books about it. I have been the last 8 years of my life, I've been in and out of severe debilitating neck and pelvic SI joint pain. I will quickly just say my childhood was filled with lots of fear. It wasn't the norm. Just a lot of fear, anxiety. I had seizures in my teen years that lasted about a decade until they found a tumor in my brain at 26 years old. I'll start there because 26 is when my pain started. But after that brain surgery, which preparing for that was really traumatic and, scary, and that went well, the seizures went away, but about 6 months after that surgery, I guess the physical trigger to my pain was I felt something while I was doing Pilates. I felt something rip in my low back, buttocks area. I was loved exercise. I did everything, kickboxing, body pump, you name it. I loved exercise. I had to do it every day. So this happened when I was doing Pilates, and the pain started there in my pelvis, and it lasted a year of, I call 2010 the year of hell, because it was started in my lower back, which I thought was my SI joint. Over that year, I lost my job. I couldn't exercise anymore. I had to have my family transport me in the car while I laid in the back seat because my biggest problem was sitting. I could not sit at all. I would have massive panic attacks over this pain. I would beg my family, my husband. It would get worse at nighttime, and I would just go into panic attacks and beg my husband to help me out. And I don't really know what I wanted him to do, but this pain, I called it the number 10 pain. It's just indescribable. It felt like a knife was in my pelvis. I could not live with it. So over that year, I can't even tell you the amount of medical professionals I saw, between pain management, orthopedic surgeons. I think I saw 9 surgeons, physical therapists, chiropractors, massage therapy. Nothing worked, absolutely nothing. I could not have an MRI at that time because I have some metal in my neck due to the seizures of the past. I won't get into that. But anyway, they said that MRIs couldn't be done. So I did everything else, myelograms, everything. They couldn't find anything. Finally, after that year of horror, I found somebody who said that I probably ripped a big ligament in my pelvis, and it wasn't stable anymore, and therefore the right side was just riding up, and it was just a very unstable pelvis. So I was hopeless at that point, and they offered me bilateral SI fixation, which is where they just put 2 screws in each side of my iliums right into my sacrum. I went with it because that's all I had. It did not work at all. I was in worse pain, and then 6 weeks after that surgery, it moved to my neck and my shoulders. So now I had debilitating pain in my neck and shoulders, along with my pelvis, and no sitting. Then I found a chiropractor that for the next 7 years then of my life, he told me that he was all about fixing the atlas, the first bone in the neck, underneath the skull, and he promised me that if he could get that under control, that my pain would go away. So for the next 7 years, I basically saw him several times a week to every other week. If I could go 2 weeks without seeing him, it was awesome. But I hated when he went out of town. I hated to be away from him because he was the only person that could fix me. So anyway, but in those 7 years was no running, no jumping. I had to lay exactly the right way in bed, or I was scared my atlas was going to come out of alignment. When my atlas did come out of alignment, which was a lot, I was in debilitating pain again, mostly in the neck and the shoulders. The pelvis kind of calmed down in those years, but I had really bad setbacks throughout those years. So anyway, I had just accepted life with I will always walk for exercise, no more than walking, just scared of everything, scared of just many, many restrictions. Couldn't even wear, the boots I wanted to wear or fashion because I was always worried about my pelvis or my neck. So anyway, I tried to get pregnant in 2016 because that chiropractor had told me that he would be there for me and that he thinks I would do fine. So I took a leap of faith and I tried to get pregnant, but right around then is when they found that the tumor in the brain had recurred and come back. So I had to go do second-time brain surgery, followed by radiation. So that was traumatic and stressful. After all that was done, I got pregnant about 6 months after radiation. And so this was in 2016. So I got pregnant. I had a fairly good pregnancy. The chiropractor did help me through it. I had, again, some setbacks, but I made it. I had the baby, and then 3 months after, when the baby was 3 months old, that number 10 pain that I was talking about in 2009 came back. This time it was just as bad and awful as I remembered it, but I had an infant now, and so I emotionally could not deal with this. So again, we went back to daily panic attacks. I couldn't eat. I was so angry because I couldn't take care of my baby now, and I thought that by getting pregnant that was the worst mistake I ever made. Because I always said I would never do that because I could not risk that number 10 pain coming back. So anyway, now in 2017, now I had the infant, and my mom would have to come over every single day to take care of her because we just figured the pain came back because maybe taking care of a 9-pound baby was too much for my back. And so during the beginning of 2018 even, I was again spending money left and right, thousands and thousands of dollars. I actually went and got a surgery the beginning of this year to get the metal removed from my neck so that I could have an MRI and see what in the world this pain was. I went to a geneticist this year to rule out Ehlers-Danlos syndrome or any kind of connective tissue disease. She had told me she thought I had a connective tissue disease when she examined me, but she had absolutely no tests to back it up. They all came back negative. So I went to the geneticist, I went to an endocrinologist to check hormonal stuff. I literally went to every kind of doctor you can think to find out what was wrong with me. After all that came back negative, I happened to catch this friend that I had known from, she had also had the same kind of surgery I had, SI joint fixation. And I was kind of following her on Facebook, and she's a personal trainer, and so she's like doing all of this weightlifting and crazy exercise like I used to be able to do, but she had had this surgery. So I contacted her and said, what's going on? How are you doing this? And she led me to buy some of Dr. Sarno's books and told me I had to get Steve Ozanich's The Great Pain Deception. So I ordered all these books, and I started reading Dr. Sarno's, which, it was so obvious to me that I had TMS. I felt as if these books were written for me. And I also want to say that when I did get this metal taken out at the beginning of this year, I did go get MRIs of my neck, my pelvis, thinking surely they would be able to see maybe what ripped back then in my exercise. I got my lumbar done. All 3 of those came back looking great. And looking great. I couldn't believe it. The only thing that came back was in the lumbar spine, L5S1 had an annular tear that was leaking on the left side. Well, my pain is on the right side more, so that made absolutely no sense, the annular tear. It was almost kind of funny that my spine came back looking perfect, except for that, which is on the left side, which my pain is more on the right side. I have had left side pain, which now I understand why, because how TMS spreads around. And I also understand how suddenly I developed debilitating neck pain after that surgery, when nothing even happened to my neck. So anyway, this is when I got the books, and so I ordered these books. When I started reading The Great Pain Deception, I literally, jaw was like on the floor. Like, I feel like that was like the encyclopedia of TMS. It answered all my questions, every one of them and more. And it made the most sense that I've ever heard about my pain. Like all the stuff that the doctors were telling me over the years, like the annular tear or connective tissue disease, none of that made sense. This book made such sense when I connected it to my past and all the trauma I've been through. Like, I couldn't put the book down. And when I was finished, my pain already was like 90% better. And so anyway, over the last 6 months, I subscribe to Beachbody, and I'm doing any kind of weightlifting that I want to do. I sold all my weights back when I had that injury because I thought I had accepted for those 7 years that walking was the biggest exercise I could do. I went back out now and I've bought all my weights up to 10 pounds, 8 pounds, 3 pounds, 5, and I'm doing all this kind of weightlifting. I also want to add that in the 7 years that I saw that chiropractor and he kept my atlas in alignment, I was very scrawny up top. I wouldn't do anything, any kind of lifting to build any muscle back there. And when I would pick up little 3-pound weights and try to lift to maybe help my neck, my atlas would come out of alignment and I would go into crazy pain. So that's why weightlifting was just taken off, and I said I would not do anything to strengthen my upper spine because I just couldn't. I thought all those years I just had very weak ligaments that couldn't hold my bones together. Okay, so anyway, now I am lifting weights. 6 months ago, my mom was over taking care of the baby every day when she was only 9 pounds. Now she's 20 pounds, and I am 100% taking care of her with no fears when I lift her, running up and down the stairs, able to play with her like I thought I could never play with my baby, piggybacking and swinging her around. It is a true miracle. And while I close this up, I want to add that in 2009 and this last year when I had the baby, that pain is undescribable. It hurts so bad. People would get angry at me saying, stop looking for doctors. You're blowing your money left and right. Nobody knows what's wrong. Like, that pain was not acceptable. I wouldn't stop looking. It was not acceptable. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And I just want to say that in those years, I'm very grateful that I've always been close to God and I know His Word. So I knew that suicide wasn't an option, but I wanted out. I really, really did. And I would actually wish something would happen to me that wouldn't be my fault, but I could get out because I couldn't live like this. I could not. And so I just want to tell people that if you think of hurting yourself or, because the pain is ridiculous, it's ridiculous. And it's hard to live with, but if suicide, I just want to show that you can literally go from crippling, debilitating pain in 6 months to nothing. TMS is so real, and it truly hurts my heart to know that none of these doctors know about it. If somebody had only told me earlier. But anyway, I'm going to close up just saying that you can get better. No matter how damaged you seem, you can get better. I literally have no restrictions right now. I'm a normal person. I have a normal spine. So I just want to, close this off with, just saying how grateful I am for that book, The Great Pain Deception, for finding out about TMS. I have prayed for 8 years for healing or for a new spine, that God would give me a new spine. And now here we are. Getting that book was the answer to my prayers. To me, that was the beginning. That was the manifestation of my healing. And I'm grateful for that. I don't care about all the thousands and thousands of dollars I've wasted to find out what was wrong with me. I'm just really glad that I read that book when I'm 34 and not 54 or 64 or 44. So I guess that's all I have to say.